Alrighty, folks, you know I'm feeling great on a Wednesday morning because we're now 4-0 in our last four daily best plays on my premium page. We had the Braves minus a buck and a quarter on the money line yesterday, and they put up 7 runs against the Phillies. That was obviously a win. Olsen, Ozuna, and Rosario, they had multi-hit games for Atlanta. Matt Olson, you know, he did what he does, hit yet another home run. That's also going to put us at 11-2 in our last 13 daily best plays in that same category. And the good news is, folks, I have another $1.99 daily best play going off here today. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in just a moment. Now, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my premium page. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. What I do on my premium page is, well, actually share with you which one of these free picks I like the best. I currently have over 735 members who are signed up and active on my website right now. Once again, folks, I'm 4-0 my last 4 daily best plays on my premium page. And if you want to access today's daily best play, it's only going to cost you just $1.99. And if you sign up for that package, you're going to get access to one premium selection of mine every single day for the next 30 days. The math works out to be just 6 cents a day. I'm 4-0 my last 4 daily best plays, 11-2 in my last 13 in that same category, and I'm also hitting at 80% in my last 10 extra daily picks. And the good news is, folks, I have plays going off in both of those packages here today. And once again, the site is patreon.com/BrockPage. The link for that page is in the description section below. With that, folks, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to start off with the Rays at the Twins, 1:10 p.m. East. Tampa Bay's minus a buck and a quarter, totals 9. Taj Bradley for the Rays, Dallas Keuchel for Minnesota. And out of 26-plus innings of work with Minnesota, the lefty Keuchel's not been great. He's got an ERA close to 5 along with a 1.41 whip. Meanwhile, at the plate, the Twins have definitely had their difficulties at the dish this year. They're currently in the bottom 10 in hits per game. They're also striking out more times a game than any other roster in the big leagues. Now, they're going to face Taj Bradley, who's a big strikeout guy for Tampa. The righties punched out 111 batters in just 86 innings. When it comes to this pitching staff, these Tampa Bay hurlers have been tough to hit against this year. Tampa allows fewer runs a game than any other club in baseball. Give me the Rays minus a buck and a quarter, under 9. Next game, Cubs, Rockies, 3:10 p.m. East. Chicago's minus a buck 65, totals 12. Jameson Taillon for Chicago, Ty Blach for Colorado. And even though Blach's numbers aren't great, he's recorded only 1 loss through 59 innings. And as pathetic as these Rockies have been this year, they've had little issue offensively at Coors Field. These guys are a top 3 hit-producing lineup at home in the National League. Zeke Tovar leads the roster in hits. Ryan McMahon's the club leader in home runs and RBI. Now, Colorado's taking on Jameson Taillon here today, who's been a bit of a liability for the Cubs. The righty's just 7-9 on the year with an ERA of 5.27. And out of the Cubs' last 10 ball games with Colorado, they've certainly allowed their fair share of runs. The Rockies actually average over 5.1 runs a game against Chicago during that time frame. 6 out of Colorado's last 10 ball games this season did get over the total. They also went 4-1 to the over in their last 5 tie block starts. Give me Colorado plus 1.5, over 12. Next ball game, it is going to be Guardians at the Giants, 3:45 East. San Francisco's minus a buck 40, totals 8.5. Kyle Harrison for San Francisco, Logan Allen for Cleveland. Allen's having a solid year for the Guardians. He's got 113 punch-outs and an ERA in the 3s. And believe it or not, folks, the Guardians are starting to hit the baseball a little bit on the road here. They're actually a top 10 hit-producing lineup in their travels. Josh Naylor, he's hitting .304 at the plate, and he also has the club lead in runs batted in. Meanwhile, Jose Ramirez, he has the most home runs in the lineup. He's got the highest wins above replacement average on the team at 4.4. Now they're facing starting pitcher Kyle Harrison, who hasn't looked great in limited work. The lefty's got an ERA close to 5 after just 20-plus innings. The Giants have also had some really bad plate appearances at Oracle Park this season. These guys are a bottom 5 run-producing lineup at home. Now, the Giants are 68% to the under against the American League at home. They're also 60% to the under in all of their interleague ball games. Give me the Guardians plus 1.5, under 8.5 runs. All right, next matchup. Angels at the Mariners, 4:10 p.m. East. This game is currently off the board. Luis Castillo possible for Seattle. Chase Silseth maybe for the Angels. And despite a solid win-loss record, the righty Chase Silseth, he has allowed his fair share of runs. Silseth's got himself an ERA in the 4s. And that's really been the Achilles heel of this Angel ball club this year. It's been their pitching. LA allows over 5.1 runs a game on the road. Now they're facing a Seattle club who's now a top 10 run producing team. Julio Rodriguez, he has the 6th most RBI in the major leagues. He's also the club leader in hits. Meanwhile, J.P. Crawford, he's got a wins above replacement average of 4.2. And even if the M's struggle at the plate, they should be in good hands with Luis Castillo on the bump. The righty's recorded a dozen wins on the year, and he also has 191 strikeouts. And no real surprise here, folks. Castillo's got himself a stingy 1.04 whip. Give me Seattle getting the job done for some moneyline cash. All right, next matchup. It is going to be Cardinals at the Orioles, 6:35 East. Baltimore's the $1.65 favorite at Camden Yards. Total is 10.5 runs. Kyle Gibson for the O's. Drew Rom for St. Louis. And the lefty Rom's had a dreadful 17 innings of work this year. Rom's got an ERA of 7.79 along with a whip in the 2s. And that's really been the story for the Cards this year. Their lack of pitching. These guys allow more hits a game on the road than any other pitching staff in the league. They're facing a Baltimore lineup who can certainly hit the baseball themselves. These guys are a top 5 run-producing team in the American League. Anthony Santander leads the club in homers and RBI. Adley Rutschman's the team leader in hits. And even though starting pitcher Kyle Gibson, he's allowed his fair share of earned runs, good things happen when he takes the mound. The O's continue to win games when he starts. The righty's recorded 14 wins on the year, and he has 140 strikeouts. And out of Gibson's last 11 starts, the O's got the W 8 times, and they scored a significant amount of runs in the process. 9 out of Baltimore's last 10 outings did get over the total. Meanwhile, St. Louis went 7-3 to the over in their last 10. Give me Baltimore minus 165 over 10.5. All right, next ball game. It is going to be Nationals at the Pirates, 6:35 East. Pittsburgh's minus 135, totals 8.5. Colin Selby for Pittsburgh. Jackson Rutledge making his debut for Washington. Now, the youngster Rutledge is quite the physical specimen. The 24-year-old's 6'8", 250 pounds. And this absolute unit actually went 6-1 at Double-A Harrisburg this year with a stingy 1.09 whip. Now, he's going up against a Pittsburgh lineup who's struggled hitting the baseball all season long. These guys are actually a bottom 5 hit-producing team. And pitching-wise, Colin Selby has an ERA of 8.64 along with a 1.74 whip. Now, 6 out of the Pirates' last 10 ball games did get over the total. Meanwhile, Washington went 7-3 the over in their last 10. Give me the Nationals plus 1.5 over 8.5. All right, next ball game. It is going to be Braves, Phillies, 6:40 p.m. East. Atlanta's minus a $1.70, totals 9. Spencer Strider for the Braves, Christopher Sanchez for Philadelphia. As much as I like Sanchez, I mean, I've really been talking this guy up for the most part of the season. But, hey, the Phils refuse to win for him. And if that's the case, I just can't back the guy as good as he's been. The lefty comes into today's ball game with just 2 wins on the year through 80 innings of work. And out of Chris's last dozen starts, the Phils took the loss 8 times. And no real surprise here, they're having a difficult time keeping Atlanta off the base paths. They've allowed over 5.7 runs a game in their last 10 gatherings with the Braves. And speaking of Atlanta, they've scored 59 total runs in their last 9 outings. And I guess you should expect that from the highest scoring team in the big leagues. Matt Olson has a league best 51 home runs and 128 RBI. Meanwhile, Ronald Acuna, he's in the top 5 in both batting average and OPS. He currently leads the majors in stolen bases. He's got a staggering 7.4 wins above replacement average. And if for some reason the Braves have problems with Christopher Sanchez here today, they do have 16-win Spencer Strider on the mound. And I'll tell you what, he's got an insane amount of strikeouts. The righties punched out a stunning 250 batters already. Atlanta's 8-2 to the over in their last 10 ball games. Philadelphia saw 4 out of their last 6 at Citizens Bank Park get over the total themselves. Give me the Braves minus 170, over 9. Next contest, Reds, Tigers, 6:40 p.m. East. Detroit's minus 145, totals 8.5. Eduardo Rodriguez for Detroit, Connor Phillips for Cincinnati. Now, Phillips has under 5 innings of work under his belt, so that's why his numbers are a bit exaggerated at the moment. We're also looking at a Cincinnati team who does not lose interleague road games. These guys are an astonishing 16-3 against American League opponents on the road. When it comes to cashing in on the run line, they've cashed in on over 68% of those interleague road games I just mentioned. Spencer Steer leads the roster in RBI and hits. Johnny India has the most runs scored. And for your daily dose of Ellie De La Cruz, he's hitting just 235 with a terrible OPS average of 707. He's also struck out more times than any other player in the organization right now. They're taking on a Detroit team who's had their hands full with the National League. The Tigers have a losing record in their interleague contests. And, of course, a lot of that is due to some poor hitting. The Tigers score fewer runs a game than any other club besides Oakland. Now, 3 out of the Tigers' last 4 at Comerica Park stayed under the total. They're also 7-3 to the under in their last 10 at any location. Give me the Reds plus 1.5, under 8.5 runs. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Rangers, Blue Jays, 7:07 East. Toronto's $1.40, totals 8.5. Yusei Kikuchi for Toronto, Jordan Montgomery for Texas. And as bad as the Rangers have looked over the past month, they have started to play some pretty good baseball over the past week or so, starting to kind of return to their early season form. And I did say the other day in one of these videos that the A's series, that was a really good opportunity for them to spin things around, get back on track. And they did just that. They took care of the A's. The Rangers are now on a 4-game winning streak. And they averaged over 6.9 runs a game during that stretch. And it shouldn't be overly surprising that these guys lead the American League in hits per game. Corey Seager's got the highest batting average in the American League, second highest OPS average in the entire big leagues. Meanwhile, Adolis Garcia, he's in the top 10 in both home runs and RBI. They're facing a Toronto club who's certainly had their struggles at home this year. As a matter of fact, these guys currently have a losing record against American League opponents in the Dome. They're actually one of the lower run-producing teams at home in the American League. 3 out of Toronto's last 5 home games did fall under the total. They also saw 61% of all of their home games stay under the line. Give me the Rangers plus 1.5, under 9.5 runs. All right, next matchup I have for you. It is going to be Diamondbacks at the Mets, 7:10 p.m. East. Arizona's minus $1.40, totals 8.5. Zach Gallen for Arizona, Joey Lucchesi for New York. And regardless of how Lucchesi pitches here today, there is a good chance he'll get minimal run support. The Mets are averaging just 7.3 hits a game in Flushing, Queens. They're a bottom 3 hit-producing lineup at home in the league. Now they're facing a 15-win Zach Gallen here today on the mound, who's got 195 strikeouts and a 1.08 whip. He has been very consistent this year for the Diamondbacks. And of course, as a team, the D-backs did get the W in 5 out of their last 7 ball games. And they've had some solid plate appearances during that span. Christian Walker's got 30 home runs and 91 RBI. Ketel Marte is the team leader in hits. 5 out of Arizona's last 6 road games did stay under the total. They're also 7-3 to the under in their last 10 at any location. Now the Mets on the other side, they went 60% to the under in their last 10 themselves. Give me Arizona minus $1.40, under 8.5. Next contest, Yankees, Red Sox, 7:10 Eastern start time. Boston's minus $1.35, totals 9.5. Tanner Houck for Boston, Clark Schmidt for New York. And as hard as I've been on Clark Schmidt this year, I actually think he's the better of the 2 starters here today. Boston's Tanner Houck is just 4-9 with an ERA in the 5s. These Boston pitchers have also been terrible at Fenway. They allow the 3rd most hits a game at home in the major leagues. Of course, they're facing a Yankee club who's starting to turn things around here a little bit. They actually won their last 3 straight. They posted a record of 7-3 in their last 10. And even though Clark Schmidt hasn't been dominant, the righty is just 1 win shy of double digits on the year. So he does give them chances to win at times. Schmidt's also punched out 139 hitters. Now, these Yankee pitchers as a whole, they have been tough to hit when they travel. They're actually allowing a league low 7.4 hits a game in their travels this year. 3 out of the Bombers' last 4 road games did fall under the total. They're also 60% to the under in their last 10 at any location. Give me the Yankees plus 1.5, under 9.5. Next ball game, A's, Astros, 7:10 Eastern first pitch. Houston's minus 275, totals 9. Hunter Brown for the Astros, Paul Blackburn for Oakland. And despite some really good outings out of Blackburn, the righty still has a sloppy 1.51 whip. And obviously, he does not have a winning record. And much of that is due to a lack of run support. The A's score fewer runs a game than any other franchise in the Bigs. Now, they're facing Hunter Brown here today, who's got double-digit wins on the season and 162 strikeouts. And despite hitting a bit of a rough patch here, the Astros are still a very dangerous lineup to go against. These guys are currently in the top 3 in the American League in hits per game. Kyle Tucker's got 104 RBI on the year. That is the 3rd most in the major leagues. Meanwhile, Alex Bregman currently leads the roster in hits. 7 out of Houston's last 10 ball games did get over the total. They also went 6-1 to the over in their last 7 Hunter Brown starts. Give me the Astros minus 1.5, over 9. Next matchup I have for you, it is going to be Royals at the White Sox, 7:40 p.m. East. Chicago's minus $1.55, totals 8.5. Mike Clevenger for Chicago, Steven Cruz for Kansas City. And even though Cruz has some bad numbers, they're definitely overinflated due to the fact he's got just 5 innings of work under his belt with Kansas City. And as bad as the Royals have been at the dish this year, they did put up 11 big runs just last night against Chicago in a win. Luis Robert, he has 35 homers on the year. He's in the top 5 in the American League in that particular category. Meanwhile, Andrew Benintendi's second on the roster in hits and runs scored. They're facing a Chicago team who hasn't performed really all that well for Mike Clevenger. As good as the righty's been this year, he does not have a winning record. I believe it's just 7-7 on the year. So a lot of good showings, not a whole lot of W's to show for it. And when it comes to offensive production, this is a bottom 5 run producing lineup at home in the league. I'm talking about the White Sox. Now, no real surprise here. Chicago went 60% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, 4 out of Kansas City's last 5 road games fell under the total themselves. Give me the Royals plus 1.5, under 8.5 runs. Next ball game, Marlins Brewers, 7:40 p.m. East. Miami's minus $1.15, totals 8 runs. Braxton Garrett for Miami, Trevor McGill for Milwaukee. And McGill's got a bunch of strikeouts and limited action. Out of 29-plus innings of work this year, the righty McGill's punched out 46 batters. He's officially got himself an ERA of 3.38. And I tell you what, that's been the backbone of this Milwaukee franchise this year. They're pitching. They give fewer hits a game than any other staff in baseball. And in their last 10 gatherings with the Marlins, they've held Miami to just 2.7 runs a game. And it's really been the story with Miami this year, their bats. These guys are a bottom 5 run-producing lineup on the road in the league. As good as Braxton Garrett's been, the Fish did take the loss in 3 out of his last 4 starts. Now, total-wise, oddly enough, 7 out of Miami's last 10 ball games did get over the total. Meanwhile, Milwaukee went 60% to the over in their last 10. Give me the Brewers minus 105, over 8. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It's going to be in that Padres-Dodgers game, 10:10 p.m. East. The LA Dodgers are minus 130, totals 8.5. Ryan Pepio for Los Angeles, Blake Snell for San Diego. And as good as Snell's been, well, the Pods lost 3 out of their last 4. And they allowed a boatload of runs during that stretch. And at the plate, the Pods continue to struggle in the box. San Diego's a bottom 5 hit-producing team in the National League. They're facing Ryan Pepio, who's looked very unhittable in a handful of appearances. The righty's got a .86 ERA through 21 innings. He's also shown some exceptional control. Pepio's walked only 2 batters and has a .52 whip. And of course, the Dodgers are one of the best offensive teams in the league. Atlanta's the only team who scores more runs than they do. Freddie Freeman's 3rd in the bigs in batting average, 6th in OPS. Meanwhile, Mookie Betts is in the top 5 in homers, RBI, and OPS himself. 8 out of the Dodgers' last 10 ball games got over the total. San Diego saw their last 5 straight on the road get over the line themselves. Give me the Dodgers minus 130, over 8.5. And with that, folks, now it is time for our quick pick recap. Give me the Rays minus $1.25, under 9. Rockies plus 1.5, over 12. Guardians plus 1.5, under 8.5. I'm 4-0 in my last 4 $1.99 daily best plays on my premium page. 11-2 in my last 13 in that same category. And the good news is I have another $1.99 daily best play going off here today. It costs just $1.99 for 30 days of service. The math works out to be just 6 cents a day. The link is in my bio. Give me the Mariners getting the job done for some money line cash. Orioles minus 165, over 10.5. Nationals plus 1.5, over 8.5. Braves minus $1.70, over 9. Reds plus 1.5, under 8.5 runs. Rangers plus 1.5, under 9.5. Arizona Diamondbacks minus $1.40, under 8.5. Yankees plus 1.5, under 9.5 runs. Houston Astros minus 1.5, over 9. Royals plus 1.5, under 8.5. Brewers minus 105, over 8. With my next and final free pick for the video, give me the Dodgers minus $1.30, over 8.5. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium page. And just a friendly reminder, if you do sign up for a membership on that site, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks that Chairman package I have, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. It gives you access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, guys, you also get access to my Chairman podcast absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, folks, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.